Game 2 of this best of 3 series between NMxMasa and RGNslush. Game 1 was taken down by Slush after he went for a Baneling bust against Masa's Command Center first. So I'm interested to see if Masa's going to be doing a Command Center first as well. Actually, no, that's impossible because on this map, Ohana, it's only a 2-person spawn location, so there's no way Masa's going to go for a Command Center first because it's just too easy to lose to aggression when the Zerg opponent doesn't even have to scout you to know where you are. And I would expect that Slush, given the fact that Masa's going to be playing more standard, he's going to do a 15 hatch in this game instead of just going for the blind aggression. And we're probably going to see Extractor Trick. There we go. So Slush going to push out that extra drone with the Extractor Trick. And I'm anticipating Masa to go for the barracks after depot this time instead of getting the command center right away. So, yep, there's the drone coming out for Slush. And yeah, game 1 was only like 6 minutes. Slush made quick work of Masa's command center first. And I have not seen these games, so if you want my odds to win for this game, I'm going to go ahead and give Masa a 55% chance in this game as well. I think this is a good map for Terran vs. Zerg. The one alley for aggression makes it easy for Terran to kind of keep their units together and not get surrounded. And Terran also has a pretty easy third to take. They can kind of siege up this whole area here and have an easy third base. So I think it's a good map for Terran vs. Zerg, and that's why I'm going to give Masa a slight edge to win this game. Now we do have the gas coming out, and it looks like it's going to be a factory opening for Masa. And I was wrong again. I thought Slush would go for a 15 hatch, but it turns out he is just a pool first player. I don't really see a whole lot of Zergs getting the 3 gas and then getting the pool before hatch. But he wants to get that early queen and early speed, and he's prioritizing that before his hatchery. And he is going to be getting 100 gas right when that pool finishes, and he's going to keep on the gas. So he's playing the same way as game 1, basically, except, oh, he does finally pull off the gas. He was just a little bit late. So, okay, he is going to expand, and then that drone's probably going to sit here until he has the opportunity to expand. Masa does throw down the factory, and since he's still mining gas, he's probably going to get a reactor here. And yeah, there he drops the reactor after a couple Marines. And Slush just going to be droning up because he got the speed, which is going to give him some map control with these Zerglings as soon as that speed is finished. And he takes his hatchery and proceeds into standard Zerg, building as many drones as you possibly... Ooh, and a second gas coming out before command center. So Masa isn't going to be going for a Hellion expand. He's going to be going for some sort of fast siege tank expand or Banshee play is pretty much all I can think of since he's getting that fast 2 gas. And he is getting a bunker. The reason he's getting that bunker is because he hasn't scouted the Zerg for a little bit to see if he's going to be Bane busting or getting some roaches out. And you need that bunker to be able to survive if the Zerg is going to get aggressive on you. And that's what this scout's going to do, and that's going to be huge for Masa. And now he confirms a Roach Warren. So great job by Masa mineral walking to get into the Zerg's base and get past that queen. And he sees that Roach Warren, and that's going to be monumental for him because now, yeah, he's going to be going into Banshee play. So he's probably going to get a couple Banshees out, just do a little bit of harassment. He knows the Zerg isn't going to have a fast Spire, given seeing that Roach Warren. And he's also going to be using it to kill off roaches to help himself defend. A couple Hellions coming out now for Masa. He's just trying to take these towers and maybe poke up, see if he can get a couple free Zerglings. Poke over at this third, see if the Zerg is taking a fast third base. You can never let the Zerg take a fast third as a Terran player. You got to keep him on 2 base for as long as possible. In Zerg vs. Protoss, sometimes Protoss don't really care if Zerg gets that third base up. But with Terran, you really want to use Hellions or Marine pressure or do something to stop that third from going down for Zerg. You don't want them to get their third until about 9 or 10 minutes, if you can help it. Now Slush just leaving this Zergling out here to see when that command center is going to go down for Masa. But that command center is actually a little bit late because he's going for the Banshees. So he does have 200. Is he going to get Cloak right now? He has the resources for it. And he's not getting Cloak. Oh, that's so smart by Masa. He starts a cheaper research just so that when Slush scouts with his Overlord, he's going to see that Tech Lab running. And now I bet Masa, yeah, he cancels that. That's a great move there by Masa. He tricks Slush into thinking he's getting cloaked, but he's actually not. So that means that Slush is going to invest in a bunch of Spore Crawlers, and he's going to be trying to push that lair out to get Overseers. And then Masa's just going to come in here and kind of poke around and try to kill a few drones. So I love that move by Masa, and I don't see Terrans do that enough. And the reason he didn't start Cloak, he started a different one, is because it costs less resources to start the medevac energy. So when he cancels it, he's not losing as much to do that. Now this Banshee's already up to 4 kills, and that's, you know, when you go for a Banshee opening, but he didn't get Cloak, so usually I would say you got to get about 7 or 8 kills to make your Cloak research worth it. But just getting a Banshee out, you only have to get about 4 to make that worth it. So I think this has already been worth it for Masa, and at the same time, he's trying to poke in here with Hellions and do a little bit of damage, and he is going to get in with a couple of Hellions. I don't know if he's going to get any workers. Oh, and he does roast some workers with a couple shots there. He gets 6 more, so Masa up to 10 drones killed already. That was very successful for Masa. If we look at the worker count, we actually have 30 to 36, and a 3rd command center coming out from Masa. So he's going to be sitting on 2 bases with 3 orbitals and just getting that huge mid-game economy. And Slush is not getting that 3rd base yet. He's got to be getting that soon. You can't be sitting on 2 base going against a 3 command center Terran at about the 10-minute mark. So it's going to be very important for Slush to get that 3rd base down as soon as possible. Throwing on all those extra gas. That means with no lair, we're probably going to be seeing Infester play. He's going to be going Zergling, Infester, and he's finally getting that. I thought he got that speed upgrade a long time ago. I didn't see him cancel that. He must have been faking Masa out and then switching over to Roach play. So both players kind of doing mind games by canceling researches. And yeah, I didn't notice that he canceled that speed earlier. And I mean, I should have assumed when he switched into Roach that he was going to be canceling that speed. So nice play by both players, kind of throwing each other off. And I like this, using the two engineering bays to help your wall, because those have 850 hit points and they're a little bit bigger than these 500 hit point supply depots. And Slush needs to be getting that 3rd up, though. I mean, we're hitting the 11-minute mark, and he's going to find himself behind the Terran as far as economy is concerned. Once he gets those 1-1 Marines and those 3 orbitals pumping SCVs, he's going to be in a rough spot if he's only on 2 base. So right now I do think Masa is slightly ahead in this game. And he's got those 1-1 upgrades. He's probably not going to push until he gets those 1-1. He did swap out the starport from the tech lab, so he's going to be going standard Marine tank medevac from here on out. And Masa scouting with that Viking. He wants to see when that 3rd goes down, and it's going down at 11:25. He is going to land that Viking, try to do a little bit of harassment, but Slush is not going to mind about that. All he has to do is send over a couple Zerglings or Roaches, and that'll force that Viking to lift. We do have the Baneling speed upgrade coming out and a drop coming down from Masa, but that's not going to do any damage. Slush doing a good job seeing that drop coming in, but Masa persisting. Going to come in and try to snipe a couple drone kills, and he was able to do that. Now, Slush's drones are being a little weird here on the gas mining, and that's why he's forced to put 4 in here. Now, he would like to have 3 in there typically, but he's forced to put 4 because of this little weird hatchery location. It's making the drones go around. Now, once he gets up to about 3 or 4 tanks, which he is now, I would expect Masa to try to take his 3rd. Yeah, there he goes, killing those rocks. And this is smart. He's going to be walling off so that he can prevent Zergling run-bys just by having like 1 bunker here or something. And you don't, every time you push out, Zerg is going to try to counter you and with speedling run-bys and try to hurt your expansions. So it's very important as Terran to get these blockades up with supply depots, engineering bays, barracks, whatever you can do, so that you can have units behind these walls to prevent Zerglings from running by. Slush doing a good job of making sure he sees when these expansions are coming down, but I'd like to see him get Burrow, and Burrow here, it's something that's really annoying, and a lot of times will make your opponent use a scan, which is worth 280 minerals. So that Burrow Ling usually pays for itself in gold. And Masa has a little Marine task force down here, going to be trying to harass this expansion, I would assume. if we bust open the income tab, the Zerg economy is actually booming now that he was able to get that third up and running. So both players are about even, but once this third gets saturated, the Terran is going to be ahead. 3 base versus 3 base is a bad spot for Zerg to be in. And yep, there comes Masa running down, but Slush is all over that, and he's going to be able to kill all those Marines with minimal losses. Masa going to be getting that medevac and 4 Marines out of there, so only losing 4 Marines there. But the mutas are coming out, and that is going to be nullifying that medevac. He's going to be able to come in here with mutas and lings and just polish that up. Now we are just seeing a transition into Ling Bane Muta. I thought Slush would go the Infestor route, given the fact that his lair was so delayed, but he is deciding to just transition into standard, old-school Zergling, Baneling, Muta play. And Masa has a pretty effective army to deal with that, and he's just now getting the turrets up in his base. He's going to need a couple more turrets than that. Otherwise, Mutas can just fly into your mineral line, snipe that turret, and then go to town. These 1-1 Marines are going to be well equipped to take care of mutas with medevacs though, so without Baneling or Zergwing support, you don't want to fight mutas versus upgraded Marines when they have medevacs with them, that's for sure. And yeah, like I mentioned earlier, Masa is going to be sieging up this middle ground, and that's going to enable him to have a secure third here. I would like to see him get some depots down here to block Zerg from harassing from this path. And now Slush's going to be trying to move in here with some mutas and just kind of pick off turrets or buildings or do whatever damage he can, whatever harassment he can. But a Thor coming out from Masa, great timing on that, and I like this move, how he's spreading just a couple Marines with his turrets. You stem those 4 Marines, and that makes that one turret so much more powerful. So a good job at Masa not having all of his army, moving around to one location fighting the mutas. He's doing a good job splitting up those Marines to take care of the muta harass. And yeah, Masa is getting maxed now, so he's actually ahead by about 30 supply. Climbing ahead in this game, and like I said, that's why you don't want to be 3 base versus 3 base in a Zerg versus Terran. Now that one turret's not going to be enough, and we see Masa actually pulling those SCVs out until those Marines can get over here to save him. That one Viking going to get targeted down, and Slush actually running away from a small Marine force. He could have taken that very easily. He could have done a lot more damage there. And Slush actually not staying broke. If you look up at the top right, he's at 2,000 resources and 1,000 gas. I don't know if he's saving. He's not saving up for Broodlords yet because he's just not getting the hive. But I would like to see him mix in a couple Infestors into his play. We're going to be seeing a push coming out, and those 3 Thors are going to make mutas basically nullified. It's all going to come down to micro. Slush is going to, with so many Banelings in production. We got 44 Banelings in production for Slush. Masa going to be trying to snipe those off. He needs to siege up and pull back. Siege tanks are done just in time. Target firing the Banelings. Good fire by Masa there, target firing. And that was a huge win for Masa. He kept all of his tanks alive. 2 of them are madly hurt. I'd like to see him bring a couple SCVs with that attack just to repair tanks and Thors. Ooh, the siege was a little late. Slush should be able to get us around, and that was a much better trade for Slush. That Thor did a lot of damage to those mutas, and that's going to make them weak for those Marines. So that engagement was a lot better for Slush the second go-around. And I think Masa getting a little bit too aggressive here. He should have pulled back and saved those Marines. And now he might lose some of these medevacs. He needed to pull back and regroup instead of continuing to press forward. And it's going to cost him some medevacs and Marines. And that kind of let Slush right back in this game. Those Marines are 2-2 though, and once they get 2-2, it's extremely hard for Zerg to deal with them without landing Banelings or Infestors. So he's going to need to keep his Baneling count up, because you can't fight Marine tank with just Ling Muta. Nice spread there by Masa, getting away from those Banelings. Saving being as cost efficient as he can, and Masa staying ahead in the unit supply. But it's going to be tough for Masa to get a 4th on Ohana. You got to go all the way over here, which it's impossible to defend your 3rd and your 4th with one siege line. Or he's going to have to go over here, which would probably be more likely because it's easier to defend from here to here instead of here to here. Supply staying pretty even, and as well as income. Terran's actually pulling ahead because of those mules. But Slush does have his 4th base up, so if he can saturate this and win just one engagement, he'll be right back in there. Ooh, finally we see some infestors coming out, and I love that play from Slush. Those infestors are going to make those engagements so much easier and give those banelings a chance to smash on those Marines. But Masa just continuing with the macro, staying broke on those minerals, that pump coming out from so many production buildings and so many reactors. That's just going to be a not... Oh, I love that siege position by Masa down there on the ridge. Slush just trying to saturate the space and keep it so they can get some income coming from it, but Masa just continuing the pressure, the relentless pressure on that 3rd, on that 4th. He doesn't want to let Zerg get that base up because he knows that's the key to staying ahead in this game. Masa knows if he can keep it to 3 base versus 3 base, he's got a good chance to win. The infestor count getting very high for Slush, so he's going to be transitioning into a late game of Broodlord, Zergling, and Infestor, which I love versus Terran. The Broodlord, Zergling, Infestor play is a very good route to go. Now we do see Masa getting that 4th saturated and all those mules on there. That's going to be giving him a massive income. And he takes out the 4th of Zerg. That's a huge loss for Slush, and now he's in a tough position because the Terran has a saturated 4th with a planetary finished, and he's sitting on 3 base versus a Terran that's on 4 or 5. So Masa is pulling ahead in this game, even though Slush is taking a supply lead. That planetary is not going to be done in time, so Slush needs to force a lift here. And that was a good job by Slush. Good awareness and making sure he's just limiting the Terran. You don't want to let the Terran just expand at will. If you got to hit before those planetaries get done. Masa going to be coming in here to repair and try to make sure that planetary gets finished. Once that planetary is finished, it makes it a lot easier for Terran to defend against Zergling run-bys and things like that. So, very important to hit Terran before they get the planetary up at their expansions. And I like what Masa's doing, putting a turret here at each planetary. What that's going to do is prevent not only mutas, but infestors from burrowing and coming up here and spitting infested Terrans all over. And a lot of Terrans forget to do that. That planetary is going to finish up right now and start to do a lot of splash damage with the Zerglings. At the same time, Masa is going to be coming down here with a big force and starting that Viking pump to be able to deal with those Broodlords. And this little task force is going to be able to do a lot of damage if Slush, he does not have a high enough Broodlord count. So Masa kind of getting a lucky little timing here. And Slush just cannot get this 4th base up and running. Every time he tries to get it up and running, Masa is putting pressure on him and not letting it happen. And Masa's never let Slush get up to that 200 army. And that's when the Zerg is really powerful with that Infestor play. When they have that huge swarm of Infestor and Baneling and Zergling. But he's never been able to get to that point because of the constant aggression by Masa and keeping pressure on him and not letting him drone, not letting him saturate bases. But Slush is starting to long distance mine, and he just can't wait for this expansion to be done because Slush has mined out everywhere except for this 3rd. So he's only on 1 base right now. The income tab is 600 to 1600, so Slush is going to need to do some damage very soon here, or he's going to find himself in a position where he can't come back. This battle is going to be a must-win, but he doesn't have the income to produce those Broodlords. The Marines are 3-3 now, making them one of the most versatile units in the game. A 3-3 Marine is such a great unit, and Slush just doesn't have the unit count anymore. He doesn't have the Broodlord account. He's got so many Corruptors, but he doesn't want Corruptors. He wants Broodlords, and he just can't get the... Oh, and a good job by Masa, the multitasking to send some Marines over here and kill off those drones and not let them mine. 4 Marines can do so much damage for you. That's why it's important for Zerg to spine crawler these bases as soon as possible, but he just doesn't have the income. He doesn't have the money. He was never able to get to a point where he was big enough financially to have that floating resources and that big income to be able to just drop spines and then reproduce the drones. So it's looking pretty grim for Slush. He's just not going to have the pump and the economy to keep up with Masa going into the late game here. And now we've seen those tanks even at 3-3, so the engagements are getting tougher and tougher for Slush. And now there's the GG. So the series is currently tied 1-1, and let's take it to game 3.